Hi, good afternoon to you and welcome to NTV at 1. My name is Olive Burrows. The United Nations Refugee Agency has outlined a plan of action in line with Kenya's request detailing a roadmap to the closure of the Dadaab and Kakuma refugee camps. Kenya had issued a 14-day notice for the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to come up with a plan of shutting down the two camps, home to some 430,000 refugees and asylum seekers of more than 15 nationalities. The action plan includes voluntary repatriation in dignity of the refugee population for whom it is safe to return to their countries of origin on account of a movement and taking in account the movement restrictions related to the COVID-19 pandemic. 2, provision of alternative stay arrangements that would allow a major opportunity for refugees to become self-reliant and contribute to the local and regional economy. 3, the hastening of the vetting process of the Kenyans registered under the refugee program and the speedy issuance of IDs to the 11,000 whose nationality has been established. Finally, the relocation of those whom Kenya is either unwilling or no longer able to accommodate to third-party states willing to take them in. UNHCR's representative to Kenya, Fadhia Abdallah, concludes, and I quote, "We believe that through joint renewed actions, we can put in place measures that respect refugee rights and lead to sustainable solutions." A public health crisis is looming in Tiaty, Baringo County, as health facilities in the area remain cut off from supplies and have begun shutting down, and that is due to an ongoing security operation to flush out bandits. The Baringo Department of Health is now pleading with security agencies to be granted access to the operation area and offer the much-needed medical services to expectant mothers and children whom they say remain the most vulnerable in the volatile area. Tiaty is a very remote area, and due to insecurity in the area, health workers have since abandoned their posts as the government onslaught on bandits and disarming continues. Fresh attacks in a local village earlier in the week have thrown the community into panic and reversed gains made by security officers in the first operation.
We request our personnel to give protection to our healthcare workers, to be able to assist especially mothers and children on issues of delivery, emergency cases, probably of malaria, typhoid, and all these problems that can be handled within the dispensary and health center. So
what we are embarking on is ensuring that we do outreaches to reach these persons who are far and those who are affected. So we actually plan even with our partners to make sure that we accelerate some of the activities that we had planned to ensure that any losses or any missed opportunities that had occurred during this operation, we sort of get to recover.
Former Kamkunji parliamentary aspirant Ahmed Ibrahim, well known as Johnny, is set to be buried this afternoon, according to Muslim traditions. Johnny died earlier at Coptic Hospital, where he was rushed for treatment.
Those close to Ahmed Ibrahim alias Johnny say he has been battling kidney disease and has been on dialysis for a while. It is suspected that he succumbed to kidney problems early morning. Johnny's body has been taken to Masjid Salama Mosque in South Sea for a burial rites and will be interred this afternoon at the Langata Muslim Cemetery. Johnny was reportedly last seen in public 3 days ago receiving a COVID-19 vaccine. Friends have eulogized him as an honest man who always spoke his mind. Others have termed him as an admired religious leader. In 2007, Johnny unsuccessfully ran for the Kamukunji parliamentary seat on ODM ticket. He lost the contest to then PNU candidate Simon Mbugua. He unsuccessfully ran for the seat on a Wiper Party ticket in 2017. Vincent Odur, NTV.
May he rest in peace. Central Organization of Trade Unions Secretary General Francis ATWOLI has been re-elected unopposed for another 5-year term as head of the Umbrella Workers Union. ATWOLI had smooth sailing in the vote after his only challenger, and that is the Kenya National Union of Nurses Secretary General Seth Panyako, was barred from the race for not being a bona fide member of KOTU. All 34 members of the Secretariat and Executive Board were all elected unopposed. ATWOLI has served the union since 2001 when he took over from the late Joseph Joy Mugala. 22 members of the Executive Board were also elected in the process that took place both virtually and physically at the Tom Mboya Labour College in Kisumu.
Our Kenya government through Treasury is looking for is funds geared towards cushioning these very needy areas so that workers cannot lose employment. And also we want to ask other government security agencies to open their eyes wide open so that the borrowed funds don't fall into the hands of unscrupulous people.
Civil society organizations are accusing the state of an attempt to muzzle critical voices through arrest and intimidation. The Kenya Human Rights Commission, the Kenya Tutakayo Movement, Social Justice Working Group and Inuka Trust say the prosecution of activist Edwin Kiama arraigned for involvement in circulation of an image of President Uhuru Kenyatta and IMF loans is repressive and against democratic and constitutional ideals. Kiama was released on bail yesterday.
The magistrate dismisses the application by the prosecution in its entirety, but then proceeds to impose extremely unjust bail terms, a clear sign that instead of dispensing justice, the magistrate chose to be complicit through her collaboration with the prosecution, stating that she did this to make Mutemi assist the police with the investigations, a duty we pay taxes to be performed by the police. Madam Kamau and the executive, please take note that 1. We will not surrender our vigilance and acts of resistance, however punitive your bails will be. 2. We will not be silenced from pointing out dehumanizing ideologies of totalitarian capitalism that burrows beyond what we can sustain. 3. However harsh repression becomes, our acts of resistance will only grow stronger. 4. We shall continue with these acts of resistance, however marginal, sacrifice our security and comfort, including coercion, abetted by courts of law until we are truly free and independent as a country. 5. We shall continue to do so because it is the right thing to do and it is a constitutional thing, it is a constitutional duty for us as Kenyans to do.
The Kenya Defence Forces recruitment exercise in Uasin Gishu County has been dogged by allegations of bribery and conmanship as tens of youth jostle for positions into the service. Lois Wangwe has been following the exercise and now joins us live. Lois, this complaint keeps coming up every time KDF is recruiting, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed. Let me start by saying good afternoon to you, dear viewer, and to you, Olive. And you're right, we're coming to you live from the RTS training school here in Eldoret. We are catching up with the exercise that is currently ongoing, that of receiving the recruits who successfully went through the testing bits for their abilities to join the school. On this third day, the head of the recruitment exercise, Brigadier Muteti, has raised an alarm. And as you note, Olive, it is not a new thing. It is something that Kenyans have been talking about every time we have these recruitment exercises across the country, cases of bribery and even conmanship. But what the brigadier is telling us on these days that the authority in these forces are now very concerned because the numbers are significantly going up. And right now we will be joined by Brigadier Muteti. Brigadier Muteti, it is not a new thing, as Olive noted back in Nairobi, that these allegations of bribery and conmanship keep happening every time we have such recruitment exercises. What could be the contributing factor?
Thank you very much. Let me say that yes, we have seen a rise in terms of the conmanship over the years, and Kenyans are becoming bold by the day, They call it poverty, but we can see that they are perfecting the act of commercializing the recruitment process. And so there are some persons that keep on following the recruitment process as they move from one place to the other. Since we started receiving the recruits, we have seen and heard recruits being conned. On Wednesday, we had conmen from around Busia, that western area. Yesterday, we had a lot of persons who are conned, and they mostly came from Uasin Gishu area. Today, we have seen a lot of persons who are conned, and most of them have come from Kisii region. And so we see that these conmen are actually coming from different places, and they are increasing by the day. They are perfecting their conmanship practices, and so most of the Kenyans are falling prey, and they have paid a lot of money to these unscrupulous conmen.
And I want to believe a number of Kenyans might be wondering, the conmen people are working hand in hand perhaps with some persons within the force, or what have you been able to realize through your investigations? Who are these conmen people?
So far, since we started the reception exercise, we have not linked any person who was conned to the KDF personnel. There has been mention of some persons who are either served in the KDF or the Kenya Police and who have retired since and who are not serving members of the KDF at the moment. But we have not actually arrested any. But today we were lucky to have arrested a person who claims to be a pastor and who has no links with the KDF or the Kenya Police or any security forces at all.
And lastly, my question would be, what pointers should Kenyans look at? How will they know that they have successfully gone through the process? And what pointers should they look at, even as many parents and guardians are desperate to see perhaps their children and loved ones join the forces, especially in the wake of unemployment increased rates in the country?
Thank you very much. We can, we can see a lot of desperation by the numbers who are falling prey to conmanship. And I would want to tell Kenyans not to be so desperate to the extent that the conmen can be able to con them of a lot of money. These young men and women are qualified enough. They are confident. They have shown that they have what it takes to join the KDF and serve towards defending their country. And so I would want to tell Kenyans that there are so many conmen out there, and that they should not just feel obliged to make payments or to even dispose properties to ensure that they give that money. The KDF is an organized institution. We always announce our recruitment process. We always go out there to shop for the best in the counties and sub-counties, and anybody who presents themselves to those groups is possibly going to the right place. If you find yourself talking to somebody who is not in KDF, then possibly you are talking to a conman. Thank you.
Asante, that was Brigadier. He's the head of the recruitment exercise. And as I noted, it is still ongoing. It is a bit different this time round in the wake of COVID-19 response. And he tells me that recruitment of admitting the successful candidates is ongoing in batches to ensure the social distancing. We'll be coming back to you with much more on this particular story. And keeping with matters COVID-19, we expect that our area governor, Jackson Mandago, will be holding a presser later this afternoon. We understand he's currently in a closed-door meeting with heads of security in the county, and we are made to understand that perhaps the reason he'll be calling that presser and why he's in a closed-door meeting is the spread of COVID-19 in Uasin Gishu County. We have seen this whole week Uasin Gishu County topping the top 3 candidates with the highest number of COVID-19 infections in the country. So we'll be coming back to you with much more on that particular presser and, of course, this ongoing recruitment exercise at the Recruit Training School in Eldoret. For now, back to you in Nairobi. Olive.
Thank you, Lois. And my, don't you feel safe? Lois flanked there by our men and women in uniform. Thank you for that report. We take a break. We'll be back shortly.
What is family? Family is a solid foundation to build on and a strong pillar to lean on. It is believing in each one of us for the betterment of all of us. Family is working together today to win together tomorrow. It is creating opportunities for a lifetime of happiness. It is knowing we are valued, respected, understood, and most of all, supported. The future is bright because you can always bank on family. Family Bank, with you for life.
Mimi hutumia mbolea inayoitwa Elgon Dhabiti DAP kwa upanzi wa mimea yenye afya bora. Halafu natumia mbolea ya Dhabiti CAN ama Dhabiti Urea kwa ukuaji wa mimea bora. Hii imenisaidia kupata mavuno mengi nikilinganisha na siku za hapo mbeleni.
Mbolea ya Elgon Dhabiti inapatikana kwa viwango vya kilo 10, 25 na kilo 50 kote nchini. Elgon Kenya Limited.
Soil Merchants Properties have incredible offers for prime residential plots in Kisamis along Magadi Road, a few minutes from the vibrant Kiserian town. Get 1/8 acre plot in phase 2 from Kenya shillings 145,000, price inclusive of transferred title deed. The plots are near Olepolos Country Club with borehole water and electricity available. Schools and health facilities are nearby. Welcome to our open day on 10th April 2021. SMS plots to 21595 for inquiries. Don't miss out on this great investment opportunity to invest in your future.
Invest in the new, fully furnished Grand Suisse Suites situated on the serene Riat Hills in Kisumu City. Each unit has a modern en-suite bedroom, a spacious living area, and a modern kitchen. At only 5 million Kenya shillings, a buyer is guaranteed a monthly income of 40,000 shillings, plus free access to facilities at the Grand Royal Swiss Hotel. Call us on 0720 927 238.
Thank you for staying with us on NTV at 1 this Friday. Maize farmers in West Pokot County say incessant delays in supplying key farm inputs is derailing the production of Kenya's staple food in the region. A majority of farmers say they had already planted by the time government began distributing subsidized fertilizer, a key input in the production process. Lois Wangui filed this report for us earlier.
The vast highlands of West Pokot County enjoys cool and wet climate, supporting crop husbandry. But the harvest season has increasingly seen maize farmers here encounter losses owing to poor pricing of the crop.
Hali ilitoa bei ya mahindi ambayo haijasaidia mkulima kwa sababu ukiangalia gharama ya ukulima na bei ile mkulima anapewa na serikali haitoshani. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali itengeneze bei ya mahindi iwe 3,200 mpaka 3,500 kwa sababu mbolea iko juu.
Some farmers here have opted to hold their crop awaiting better pricing through the law of demand and supply, but the lack of proper storage is exposing their crop to aflatoxins. Many farmers are now stranded and distressed.
Ningeomba serikali yetu ya Jamhuri ya Kenya ya kwamba ingefaa isupply wakulima mbolea kupitia NCBB.
The farmers say even after the government announced availability of discounted fertilizer, the commodity is still hard to come by.
Mahindi mwaka huu inakuwa na aflatoxin kuliko miaka zingine zote. Kwa sababu hata mahindi yakiwa meupe namna gani, zinaenda cereal, unaambiwa ni kuna aflatoxin. Na hizo mahindi bado unaosiona kwa wafanyabiashara wananunua na kuweka kwa malori na zinaenda zinashagwa na watu wanakula huko.
The onset of this planting season has seen farmers suffer increased production costs, including fuel, farm imports, and of course, disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Lois Wangoi, NTV, Eldoret.
To Kisii County now, where women leaders have condemned the rapid increase in defilement cases in the area. They're now calling for a concerted effort to deal with the matter. Anita Nkonge with that report.
Their voices are loud and clear. Stop gender-based violence. Cries were triggered by a recent incident where a 6-year-old was defiled by her stepfather in Kenyoro Village, Marani Sub-County. Speaking at the site of a 27 million shilling rescue center under construction for victims of GBV in Kisii County, the women leaders called out the rise in GBV cases in the county.
Wanawake, tunaogopa eti ukisema, ukitacha kibaya kwa jina yake, eti marriage yako itaharibika. Ni marriage gani? Tuko na huzuni tunalia. Hata tumeshindwa tufanye nini?
The rate at which young girls are being raped in our county is very sad. And it has reached a point that we are asking ourselves, do we have a psychological problem in our county? Na tumefika mahali tunaona sasa tunalia kila siku tunalia, lakini hatujapata suluhisho.
The leaders accuse local administrators of slacking off on the job.
The problem we have in this country is that the chiefs, and I dare say, and I'm not afraid to say, the chiefs are hiding the perpetrators. We are tired. We are tired that the county commissioner is not taking enough measures. We are tired that the office of my very good brother and who is my friend Fred Matiangi has not taken enough measures to curb these incidents.
They're now calling for proper mechanisms to be put in place to deal with perpetrators.
I cannot support kangaroo courts because it's not an effective mechanism in which you can actually have a balanced law. Because a kangaroo court is just a court that is decided locally and based on emotion. We have come up with a mechanism. We have an act of parliament, the Sexual Offences Act.
Increased cases of gender-based violence are being reported across the country despite existence of laws.
Tulipotelea wapi sisi kama Mkisii? Because wazee na watoto wavulana walikuwa the culture keepers wetu. Tunataka tubadilishe, tuone ya kwamba Kisii yetu watu wamebadili mienendo. Hili watoto wetu, hili viongozi wetu wa mbele, wale watoto wadogo wanabakwa, hii jambo limekuwa la mwisho.
According to the leaders, more than 9 defilement cases from Kisii County are yet to be addressed since 2020. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
A truly disturbing development, and those women leaders are calling or taking the administration to task. The profile information of at least 500 million LinkedIn users is on sale after a hacking incident targeted at the popular website for hosting professional qualification of its members was breached. The data is on sale on a website that is equally associated with hackers. LinkedIn says the data was actually hacked from various websites and companies. The company, which has more than 675 million users globally, is owned by Microsoft. LinkedIn is also popular among Kenyan users. The data breach represents yet another example of the challenges of securing cyberspace as hackers continually seek to penetrate or skirt around security defenses. Polls have opened in Djibouti this morning as citizens of the Horn of Africa nation head to the ballot to elect their leader. Incumbent Ismail Omar Guelleh is expected to be elected by a majority for a 5th term, just like Francis ATWOLI, which could be an extension of his 22 years in power. Since Djibouti's opposition boycotted the elections, 56-year-old Zakaria Ismail Farah, a little-known businessman, is the only one left standing as Guelleh's only challenger. Gwele held his last campaign on Wednesday at a fully packed stadium with a few of his supporters wearing masks despite the surge of COVID-19 in the nation. One person has been killed and at least 6 others wounded by gunfire on Thursday after troops in Benin cleared protesters in a flashpoint city days before President Patrice Talon seeks a re-election.
Protests erupted and several people detained this week in the West African country ahead of Sunday's vote, which critics say is skewed in Talon's favor after the main opposition leaders were sidelined in a crackdown. A column of military vehicles arrived early Thursday to disperse demonstrators in the central city of Save, an opposition stronghold, where makeshift barricades of trees and tires blocked a major road. Troops initially fired tear gas and then more detonations were heard as one soldier fired in the air from an armored vehicle mounted with what appeared to be a heavy caliber weapon.
This morning, one person died and 6 others were injured with bullet wounds. All the wounded have been transferred to the hospital in Save.
The capital Porto Novo and the economic hub Cotonou were largely calm on Thursday, however, as well as in the north, where some protests had taken place in the morning. Benin has long been celebrated as a strong multi-party democracy, but critics say the country spiraled into authoritarianism after Talon was first elected in 2016. Benin's main opposition figures either live in exile or have seen their candidacies rejected due to electoral reforms rejected by a large part of the political class. On Sunday, 5.5 million people will be eligible to vote in presidential elections. 2 little-known opposition members, Alassane Samanou and Corentin Koho, are running against Talon.
Away from Benin and the instability that's been witnessed in recent days, let's move on to the world of sports. And Manchester United took a big step towards the Europa League semi-finals with a 2-0 away win over Granada in the first leg of their last